In the realm of horror, there is a video game franchise that probably conquers all, maybe even conquers the world of itself. One that people have heard of since it became ever so popular back in 2014 and 2015. It's one of the biggest video game franchises ever made, and of course, it also has the reason for being one of the scariest games ever made, and also having a bunch of more and theories behind the series. So I think it's time for Lazyween that I officially check this out. What? Me play the video games? No, no, no. See, no, instead I'm here to talk to you guys about something even more interesting that I like actually about the Five Nights at Freddy's counterpart. The story and more behind the series. Greetings, good goblins, I'm Lazy Universe, and I'm white nerdy, and welcome to Lazy Ween. Especially since after so many attempts of having a good video going up, YouTube cannot stop doing the copyright, copyright. We won't tell you why you get copyrighted, but copyright. So instead, I decided to look at something that I got from my girlfriend, and then decided, you know what? I'm going to unwrap this Christmas gift, which I might still either wrap up for her or keep for myself. I have no idea yet. But we're going to be talking about it anyways. And yes, Five Nights at Freddy's. What can be said about the franchise that hasn't been said before? Created by Scott Cawthon, this is an idea that he had about a haunted, basically pizzeria place known as Freddy Fazbears, where the animatronics come to life and basically kill people. But that's not the entire case behind it. I believe even Cawthon himself said that he wanted more of the lore behind it, rather than just it being about these killer animatronics on the loose trying to kill people, and which is in case with this. This is a collection of short stories, known as the Freddy Fazbear Frights, which is a collection of short stories, which is kind of like an anthology horror, kind of like think Goosebumps or the EC comics from the past, like Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, stuff like that. And this, actually, despite the cover, is kind of really good for children's horror. If you can handle children's horror, and if, if, you are a Five Nights at Freddy fan. Which, by the way, this might intrigue my best friend on Twitter, Evie Ravencroft, I think that's how you pronounce your last name, who has a son that's addicted to Five Nights at Freddy's. Well, if her and her son are watching this, hello to both of you. And so, let's check out, and probably shit our pants in the process, why don't we check out the Fazbear Frights, which is a collection of 4 anthology horror stories, and take a look. Also, you can see that this is pretty thick, so we're just going to try to get through these as quickly as possible. But let's dive into Five Nights at Freddy's Frights, a collection of Volume 4, and see what happens. I have to say this cover is pretty freaky for the most part. It has Freddy, at least I think that's what it is, looking mismangled and terrifying while looking at the reader. Very stuff of nightmares, and if you're wondering about the back cover, it's just more of a collection of short stories that you can read from the collected one. Don't miss this post-pounding collection of 3 novella-length comic stories that will even keep the bravest player up at night. Dude, this is made for children, so that is not possible. But yeah, I absolutely do love this, and I don't know if Scott Cawthon is behind most of the stories, but most of the stories are pretty good, and this cover is terrifying, so let's dig in. As we can see inside of the cover, nope, Scott Cawthon didn't write any of these. But hey, we got 3 short stories to go through, so time is of the effort. But I would have liked it if Cawthon were one of them, but either way, let's dive into our first story, The Breaking Wheel. At a school, we meet a young kid, Reed, who's working on a science project, basically a baby doll. But even he points out that this is pretty annoying and that nobody even would like baby dolls. But he'd imagined this. I could make it come to life, move around, and scare her. Classic brotherly prank. But at this point in the semester, that vision is likely not going to become a reality. And Sarge even points out that the movement of technology, how one girl builds a robotic dog, one kid builds like a Rob the Robot type of looking thing named Dilbert, yes, as actually his name, and this is his best friend, Pickles. Yeah. So apparently this is either Drew or Stu Pickles from the Rugrats before they became a father. Interesting stuff. And anyways, he still points out that his dog is still not the best, and that the girl that has the robotic dog is pretty much everything. And Shelly, who he actually has an fascination with. The truth is, I'd pretty much do anything Shelly wants me to do. Shelly and her brother, they're like family to me. We've been friends for too long for me to think of her as a friend as anything else but a friend. But lately, I've been thinking about what it would be like if we were more than that. Yeah, probably doesn't help that you stare at her like that, by the way, but and anyway, the kid is pissed off about the dancing robot in the back. The kid only known as Julius. Stop moving! Hey, Mr. Billings! Pickle's stupid remote is interfering with my exoskeleton again. Can you make him switch from a radio to infrared signal? You mean Delbert? Yeah, little Dill Pickle. Make him stop. And everybody figured out that Julius is just being an asshole. Even the teacher kind of points it out, but the teacher still talks to Dilbert, and his name is Pickle, ha ha ha. Dilbert, can you please explain to the class your reasoning for an RF remote? I'm using the RF as an IR extender to make the signal effective through the walls. This isn't my fault the remote works on Julius's exoskeleton. Julius could install a signal filter to change its receiver or to a different frequency. He could even macros if it's possible into a programming close to mine. He might have stole my macros. And Julius was to him, and pretty much, yeah. Julius ends up pissed off about this, and for the most part, the teacher tells him to take their projects home and work on them another day. Reed wondering what happened to Dilbert, as Dilbert ends up tripped up and also pretty injured from Julius. Nobody saw. Not even Pickle realized that Julius tripped him. That jerk. Look at him smiling, like a vampire. I wish I could take him through the heart, even if he had one. Speaking of the exoskeleton, Julius shows off the exoskeleton and exactly how it works, and it seems like it pretty much does what everything it is enhanced for. It's pretty much like it's supposed to make the user more enhanced, trying to thing. So instead, when it's complete, I'm gonna make you wear it. It won't be hard to hold you down and strap you in. I'll control the exoskeleton, and you'll have to be my servant. You'll carry my books, tie my shoes, bring my food, clean up after me. Oh, yeah, I see how this works. He turns it on, and the thing short circuits and even fries Julius. Reed, confused about what happened, decides to basically pull a trick on Julius and basically turn his exoskeleton against him, to the point where he can't escape it, as Reed basically goes home and thinks nothing of it. While staying at Dilbert's house, the two of them basically consider what exactly happened. Even Reed still points out that the exoskeleton is still attached to Dilbert's little robot. Shouldn't you be a little more worried about your robot right now? Huh? As his little brother seems to be playing with it. Nah, it's built to be sturdy. But even Reed points out that he is a bit worried about Julius. He doesn't want any harm to come to him, even if he hates him and even if the guy is a bully. But the more that Dilbert's little brother plays around with it, the more that he's worried that something bad's going to happen to him, the more and more. Even Dilbert points out that he's pretty much worried too. So, yeah, as you'd expect, he had the robot do a bunch of silly things. Spin on its head, dance to the Hello My Darling from the Wannabe Frog, do twerking, spin on its head, and then become mismangled like that. Which all Reed can think about is him looking, well, pretty much exactly similar. Later on, he notices the robot starting to move by itself, and hear noises inside of his house. But what could it be? Why, it's none other than Julius, who became an animatronic. Yes, that's right. Julius is indeed hunting him down and wanting to kill him. This can't be real. This can't be real. This can't be real. I hate to break it to you, bro. I think it's pretty much real. He tried to run away from it. He tried to do everything he can to escape the Julius, but but the Julius bot ends up finding him instead. And I also love how it's creepier that Julius doesn't say nothing, just hunts him down. His hands, they're too broken to get a grip. I might be able to drag it loose. And so he ends up being captured by the Julius robot until Gilbert hands the remote control back to her little brother, who ends up doing some stuff and perhaps maybe killing Julius in the process. It's never said. On to our second story, Sergio's Lucky Day. We meet a young man named Sergio who just so happens to have the luck of his life. He has a good paying job, a beautiful girlfriend that he loves, and especially good parents that take care of him. But he still feels like that his life still is kind of falling apart. His luck takes a turn for the better when he starts hearing things at night that keeps him awake. He starts becoming fatter, eating more unhealthier food, starts sleeping on the date with his girlfriend, not paying attention to her, and especially kind of slacking off at work. That is until, while out driving, he finds something, a balloon boy. But it's a balloon boy who keeps telling him that it's his lucky day. You're a lucky boy, aren't you? Do you have any tips? I could use some luck. Sergio finds out that the more that he is attached to Balloon Boy, the more that basically the Balloon Boy changes his luck. Things get better with his girlfriend, his job gets better, his relationship with his parents gets better, but only for a short time. He eventually throws off his girlfriend, wants nothing to do with her, and basically listens to the talking Balloon Boy until he wins the lottery, and Balloon Boy even makes him and Ayako laugh, and that yes, his luck is indeed changing. His luck does change yet again, where his girlfriend talked to him about how he didn't get her a gift, but he got himself nice things. You got yourself a new $37,000 watch and a new sports car, and you didn't get me anything? Take me home right now. So, yep, that incredibly means that his luck is definitely changing, and especially so, his work life is especially changing too. While trying to apologize to his girlfriend hears Balloon Boy talking inside of the car, and thinks that this is pretty much scary, especially how Balloon Boy says, "If it's broken, fix it, or get rid of it." And she even points out that his relationship with the doll is not the best of things, so he had to make a decision, her or the doll. And yep, he still chooses Balloon Boy. However, with his new girlfriend that he's trying to drive back through, he tells her that he doesn't want to date her no more because she's trying to dress him up like a Ken doll. Wow, you're ridiculous. I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm glad I found out sooner or later. I knew you should have known that you were a weirdo when you told me about your little guru toy. Agitate Balloon Boy. And Sergio tells her to drop it. She does not, and Sergio swerves the car and crashes. But that's not the worst of it. He's fine, but his girlfriend is worse for wear. That definitely means that he's not getting a second date from her anytime soon. While at home with Balloon Boy, he suddenly starts changing for the worse. Especially when Balloon Boy tells him to trim the fat. I mean, technically I could, but I don't have the exact same training level of a plastic surgeon. You're the best! I mean, I guess I already have trust in my hands and my tools with my life, and now I'm doing a great job of it. How good a little fat removal be? And suddenly he snaps and starts grabbing his power tools. Cut to fit, that's a rule. But of course, what about my lips? They're too sick. Woo! Carvers are the artists. Another good point to the masters of wood. I can reach up anything. Eyelids cover eyes. Sure, no problem. Fixed up these beady bird eyes. As he ends up going to a prom, or a dance, or whatever that is, meeting up with Sophia, and also some other people, with a giant trail of blood behind him, and with him looking like a Cenobite there afterward. Where is Sophia? As he looked like, well, just like that. On to our last story, The Corp. A father, Robert, and his young son, Tyler, seem to be having the best of life. But Robert misses his wife. His wife Anna passed away while giving birth to Tyler, and his whole single father thing is kind of ruining his life. He kind of misses which is that somebody was there. He even admits that he had no idea how to be a father at all, etc., even though he's doing his best. Which, of course, everything doesn't seem to be getting for the best for him, especially when a coworker at work basically tries to talk to him and basically shows interest in him, like to date him, whatever. He shows little to no interest in her, but even she points out that if he wanted to talk to her, that she can, come to him. Later, after school, he talked to a teacher about Tyler. A student notices that he doesn't have a mommy in his life, but even she points out that maybe perhaps things should change for Tyler, and maybe you should include a mom in his life, since little guy's all alone. Meanwhile, at a toy store, he picks up something called a Tag-Along Freddy, which of course his son wants very, very much. Do you like one? Look at that. Do you like one of these Freddys?
Yeah, Freddy! Wow.
Well, shoot, it's harder to argue with anything that says love as you read the back of it. Tag-Along Freddy is a kid's parents and pals, which it updates you on a Tag-Along wristwatch. So if you're out of sight, sometimes Tag-Along Freddy is the bear who's always there. And of course, things change for the better once he picks up a Tag-Along Freddy. But while playing out in the sandbox, Robert tells Tyler not to put Freddy inside the sandbox, otherwise his fur will be all covered with sand, that sort of thing. He understands this. Of course, he goes back inside the house to answer a phone call, and when he comes back out, a van steals his son, as he had no idea what to do except for trying to search for him, which of course he ends up doing. But it's not clear. Even when he gets an update from Freddy, it says that Tyler is gone, as his father kicks the bear, blaming him, and lays on the ground and doing this. As the search for Tyler goes on, Robert becomes more and more worried, but he keeps getting text messages from the Freddy Bear saying, "Why don't you go to the cliffs?" But he doesn't believe the bear, and even he takes it out on him. "You think I'm a bad parent. You think this is my fault. You think I should die already. Well, where were you?" As he tries to attack the Freddy Bear, and the police officer stops and looking at him, probably trying to question why the hell this man is about ready to punch a bear. Until finally curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to go to the cliff. And after he beats up the Freddy Bear, seriously, why would you do that? He admits that he's at the cliff, he now is there to do what he wishes to, and that Freddy can basically leave him be. Which of course he ends up taking him, picking him up, and questioning about ever being a good father or just a good adult instead of a careless one instead, which is a pretty good dialogue for him to read, until he hears crying. Which of course he's in a cliff all by himself with no idea how to get there. Yes, Tyler is alive. Tyler doesn't know how he got into the cliff, but he doesn't know how he got stuck either. Maybe he ran away from the kidnapper or something and accidentally got himself stuck while hiding. It's completely possible. As he pulled him out, and it's a tearful reunion for him and Daddy. So, you tried to follow the doggy and got lost?
Uh-huh.
Well, that was really dangerous, buddy. Promise me you'll never leave the yard again.
Okay, Daddy.
Good. Let's go home. I'll bet you're thirsty, huh? As the two of them look beyond the cliff, beyond the beauty of it all, and he recollects on his wife, who probably he hasn't had any time to grieve about, saying of how the skyline is pretty, and that his mom used to wear a dress of colors like that.
Mommy pretty.
Yes, she was. Would you like to look at some pictures of your mommy sometime soon?
Yeah.
I can't wait to tell you all about her, ending our comic series. And so that was Five Nights at Freddy's Freddy Frights here with a short story collection. And is it good? I think so. My personal favorite, if I had to put them in order, is Sergio's Lucky Day, which is probably by far the most terrifying concept of a man slipping deeper and deeper into madness, thinking that luck is more important than anything, especially his own family. He even chooses to kind of screw over his own father by trying to take over his company. Pretty dark stuff. If I had to pick a second favorite, I really do like The Cliff, which plays on psychological horror too, especially with the father losing his son, which pretty much would be such a terrifying concept to begin with, and knowing that the son was okay makes it all the more worthwhile, but the slip into madness that the father had was really damn good. The first one, Breaking Wheel, is I like what happened to Julius and everything, but the story itself is kind of bland. Like, it doesn't have that change until later on, so you kind of get into a lot of padding just to get to the scary part. But as such, I thought they were really damn good, and honestly, I couldn't probably see myself reviewing more of these in the future. Maybe not the full-on stories, but maybe the short stories. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I believe you I want to know to keep it on. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon every single time you might be notified of a Lazyween, and more Lazyween is upon us. As yes, as promised in my bird review, we're taking a look at another Friday the 13th movie. And since it's October 13th, we're going to be taking a look at Friday the 13th, Part 2, since I reviewed Part 1 quite a while ago. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed it. I want to keep it on. And until next time, and as always, guys, take care and stay spooky.